welcome to another episode of Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
In today's episode, we will be talking about shadow people. Sorry if I got any of you guys, or if we got any of you guys all hot and bothered by our little whisper intro there. This is the first episode that someone is listening to or watching. We generally don't whisper creepily into your ear, but we're talking about shadow people, and they're all weird and wispy and creepy.
If you want us to continue to do that,
I don't know if I want to continue to do that.
More than obliged to do so.
But hey, if it for some reason helps get views, listens, we'll do anything.
I could crinkle some paper. We could go all ASMR. I don't care.
We could do some tapping for you. Whatever you'd like. But today, Kim, stop! No, they have to pay for that. That's the OnlyFans. But for today, we are just talking about shadow people. Yes. So, before we get into that, again, as we were saying before, let us know what kind of content you like. Do you like this? Do you want us to keep telling you creepy things? Let us know. We do a lot of other stuff. We do some food reviews, but it's mainly creepy stuff like haunted house reviews. We go to real haunted places and investigate them. We do spooky, scary stories where you have pretty footage set to telling stories. Do a whole bunch of content like that. So if you're interested in spooky stuff and maybe a little bit of food as well, then you should definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to some podcast forum, like I said, we have a video forum every Saturday, and the podcast is uploaded on Friday. So if you want to actually be able to listen to us just speak to you early and you're watching the video forum, make sure you go subscribe. We're on pretty much all platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, all that crap. That's a great sell. All that crap, huh?
All that crap.
All that crap. Yeah, we also have a Patreon you could check out that helps support us a lot, and we have different tiers, and you get fun little special things depending on the tier you're in. Mm-hmm. But that being said, let's get into talking about shadow people. So, what is a shadow person? Well,
shadow person is a perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure and interpreted as the presence of a spirit or other entity by believers of the paranormal or supernatural.
So, we'll get into more of the theories later, but yes. And they tend to be seen out of your peripheral... Oh my god, peripheral.
That's a hard word to say.
Peripheral.
I can't even say it.
Peripheral vision.
Okay.
Don't make fun of me. That's not nice.
I'm not mocking you. I can't say it either.
No, I'm telling them.
Oh.
Because the internet.
You can mock him. I don't care.
Yeah. And, that kind of the fact that people generally see them out of the peripheral... Oh, my God. Wow, I really just can't say that word.
Peripheral?
Out of your side vision.
Side view.
Side view. A lot of people think that it's skeptic because, they're like, oh, well... So, your peripheral vision is designed to see motion, not detail. Yeah. But then other people will say, oh, well, it can, seeing things out of the corner of your eyes, you see different things, your eyes work different there. And the thing is, though, if it is detecting motion, my argument against that is, if nothing's actually moving and you're detecting motion on the side, that's weird. And that's kind of where I think some of the theories that it is, maybe a ghost or something like that comes in, is because you're detecting motion. And for motion to happen, there has to be something that is moving. Yeah. And, maybe you couldn't see them by looking at it because, there's too much detail, but just from the side, you're just detecting that motion. Mm-hmm. This blur. And, there's a lot of theories as to what shadow people are and all of that. Some people think they are just that. They're apparitions. Some people think they're aliens, extraterrestrial beings. Some
people think they're demons.
Yeah, otherworldly, just in some way.
Some sort of non-human or what's the word I want to say?
Just I don't know, an entity, just of some sort. Yeah,
some sort of entity, maybe from a parallel world that just didn't quite manifest fully, or inhuman. That's the word I was thinking.
Inhuman. Not human. It's just a fancier way to say not human. But
yeah.
Because this article from Bustle.com what are shadow people? Shadow people are a bit of an enigma in the paranormal community. Professional witch, which is hilarious. Professional witch and psychic Renee Watt tells Bustle they are often thought of as ghosts or a collection of negative energy. But as is true with most paranormal phenomena, there is no finite answer. According to Watt, shadow people can appear in different forms and may even indicate that someone is under a psychic attack. Many paranormal experts also theorize that there may be a connection between shadow people and extraterrestrial life, and that these beings could be otherworldly in origin or have a connection with alleged alien abduction experiences. While the exact supernatural origin of these shadow-like beings is debated among paranormal experts, there is one thing that most agree upon, which is that the presence of shadow people is wholly unsettling. These shadowy, human-like entities have a bit of a murky reputation, as most people who report them state that they feel uncomfortable, scared, and in some extreme cases, even paralyzed with fear. Watt says most reports on shadow people are overwhelming and negative, and are accompanied by a feeling of dread.
When I was doing my research, I also saw that people kind of lump shadow people into the old hag or sleep paralysis thing as well.
Yes, and that's what I was going to... Well, let me ask you, what do you mean old hag?
Well, it's the old hag is it's supposed to be basically the sleep paralysis thing as well, where you see an old hag-like woman holding you down in your bed, and that's why you can't move. Is you see this witch just like on top of you. And that's what they call it. Is a lot of people actually see this image of this old hag holding them down in their bed.
Right. And that is a lot of times, and shadow people are very synonymous with sleep paralysis. A lot of people have sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
See these shadow people. And sleep paralysis is a really creepy thing. We haven't really done an episode on it, but we're going to have to talk about it a little bit of this. We might have a completely solo episode on sleep paralysis possibly, and like that I don't really know for sure, because we're going to talk about it a fair amount here.
I won't sleep on my back because of it.
Yeah, it is freaky. And one of the things, too, if you want to be freaked out, the more... I'm going to, see the YouTube, marks. Is it, it's like YouTube shows you if you, are a YouTuber and you, watch the analytics. And not so much with podcasts, but if you're watching this in video form, it shows me when, view drops off. It's 3 minutes in, this is when people tend to stop watching.
Oh, jeez.
Well, and I'm saying that because I'm about, generally, the more you know about sleep paralysis, it's kind of said that develops sleep paralysis. A lot of times, if you watch things about it or you know about it, you're more prone to actually have a sleep paralysis episode. There's this...
Sleep on your side.
Yeah, sleep on... Or you just face down. Yeah, I
just push it.
Unless it's, it's so funny. Yeah, when I wake up, in the morning, and I will sleep on my back in the morning a lot. But, at nighttime, I will not sleep on my back. I will not sleep on my back at night. I feel like in the morning there's too much light for me to sleep paralysis demons. That might not be true. I don't know. I don't think... I've had episodes, and this wouldn't be... I don't think the same as sleep paralysis, where I become aware that I know that I'm asleep, but I cannot wake up. It's not like I'm actually seeing my room around me, but I know I'm asleep, but I cannot wake up. And usually it's a nightmare or something's trying to get me, but I'm consciously aware of the fact that I'm asleep, and I want to wake up because I know that will get me out of the situation, but I cannot. And one of the reasons, or the main reason, that people see these things, sleep paralysis demons, if you will, these shadow people, when they actually are having a sleep paralysis episode, is that, so basically the brain knows that it's paralyzed, so it's awake, and it has kind of a flight or fight response, but since it can't actually do anything and there's no actual threat, but it feels threatened, it creates a threat, basically. So it creates this being. Is kind of the science, at least as far as they know. Sleep paralysis, especially with seeing these figures, because it is a very... And people see the same thing, the Hat Man you see a lot about.
Yeah. People
see the same thing. So that's the best, really, explanation that we have as to...
That makes sense.
Why people see the things.
Yeah.
But that is... I found that to be interesting. And I also seen people kind of explain sleep paralysis. Skeptics note that seeing shadow people could simply be chalked up to sleep paralysis, which is a medical phenomenon that takes place, when someone is in between sleeping and wakeful state. During sleep paralysis, a person feels fully conscious, but they're unable to move and speak, may experience a feeling of intense dread or sensation of being suffocated, or even hallucinations of shadowy figures. Other potential explanations include experience heightened emotional states, sleep deprivation, or substance use, which, if you're substance use, you kind of know, I feel like you would know that, oh, well, I was high on this and maybe that's what caused it, you know. It's also important to consider that most shadow person sightings appear in our peripheral vision, which is designed to detect motion and movement, not detail. That said, it would be easier to mistake something in the corner of our eye for something it isn't than it would be if we were to see something head on. And I mean, that's fair, but again, if you see motion, you look and there's nothing there, what was it?
Yeah.
I've also seen stuff that states that they're like mini sleep paralysis episodes, which it seems stupid to me. They're like, oh, your brain like was basically non-functioning for like a second or something stupid like that made you see this. Yeah, I don't really know.
That's weird.
How well I feel about this. And like this person was asked like, what should you do if you see it, you know? Basically, if it's a one-off thing, don't worry about it. But they're saying like if it's something that becomes like a regular thing in your life, you should do a spiritual cleansing. I'm sure she wants to sell you a crystal. Which
I'll
right
do
here.
your cleansing for like $100.
Putting out cleansing crystals in your home or burning purifying herbs. All I'm sure what she sells at her professional witch shop. She's a professional witch. Yeah. She said it. But anyways, I don't know. What do you think of the whole shadow person thing? Do you have personal experience with shadow people? Have you seen many shadow peoples in your life?
I mean, I've seen shadows like at like haunted places and things like that. I mean, when I had my sleep paralysis incident, I didn't see anything because my eyes were like shut because I didn't want to see the old hag. I like went like this. I'm like, no. And I mean, I did say like a
well, that's interesting. Are you sure it was a sleep paralysis incident, though? Because most people with sleep paralysis cannot close their eyes. That's kind of the thing.
Well, I was asleep. I was laying, and I felt someone start holding me down. I mean, I honestly think it was an old hag thing, but I was awake, but I hadn't opened my eyes yet. Like, I was, you know, I was just laying there on my back, and then I felt like someone was pushing me down into the bed. And I started to envision myself in white light and, you know, tried to get whatever it was off of me. I told it does not, you know, it's not allowed to be here. I am surrounded by white light. I am protected, blah, 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 blah. And it went away. Whether or not it actually was an incident or if it was all in my head, I don't know. I haven't had anything ever since.
Just the one time. Had you like recently like went to any haunted locations or anything like that? Like within like the,
you know, I don't remember.
Preceding that? No.
I might have been someplace before that, but I usually try to protect myself whenever we go someplace. I always say, you know, you're not allowed to follow me home.
Right.
You know, you can stay here, go into the light, which I suggest to anybody who is
pretty
afraid
standard
of something.
practice. You should probably do that, even if you don't really believe it. Doesn't hurt, I guess, to say those things.
But I don't really remember. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, a lot of people are like, you know, it's weird that everybody's brains are so unique in the way that they work for the most part. And I mean, there are similarities, but it's odd to me that there's so many thousands of people that have sleep paralysis issues, and they all see like these same figures, you know, and stuff like that. And like it gets really weird. Like in that documentary, I think it's called The Nightmare. I do believe it's on Netflix. I think you should watch it. It's horrifying. It's really creepy because sleep paralysis to me is terrifying because like it's not even necessary. It might be supernatural, but it might not be. It's like a thing that a lot of people go through. It's a scientific thing. Like it's not made up. It's a thing that people actually experience. And I'm not saying that paranormal stuff is all made up, but I'm just saying like this isn't something that you really question. It is like, no, this is real. People acknowledge it. Doctors know it's a thing that happens. Like it is a thing that is acknowledged and that it happens that people see these weird shadow people in the corners of their bedroom. And they usually don't do anything but watch you. But then there are the ones that will like sit on your chest. Like I've even heard like shadow cats that just lay on your chest, you know. One of the freakiest ones in that documentary was there was like a dual sleep paralysis thing where the guy had it and his girlfriend did not. Well, he had a cat that was like looking at his face and saying things, but he couldn't understand it. And the next morning she was basically like, well, I saw something on your chest. Like she was having sleep paralysis, saw this cat, but she could hear the words it was saying and was telling him. And if that's true, that's horrifying.
Wow.
That is terrifying because how could that be a thing? How could that be an actual thing?
Well, we've had that happen at like when we do paranormal things where I actually, it was at Mansfield Reformatory. My friend Bob and I each saw a part of an apparition.
Yeah.
I saw the man at the sink washing his hands. He heard the water running.
Interesting.
He didn't see the figure, though.
Yeah, and see, that is similar. But, like, that's more like in a ghost hunting session, you know, like an actual, like, you guys were looking for ghosts. You know, this is more of, like, you know, they're under the assumption that it's just a sleep paralysis thing, this more scientific phenomenon that happens to people, and now you kind of question, you know, well, is it? Because two people experienced it. How could two people experience the exact same type of situation that was happening?
Yeah.
And, you know, is it sleep paralysis? You know, what would cause that? Like, I can't think of any scientific explanation that would actually make that happen.
Yeah.
So they both were experiencing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, they both experienced the same thing. Unless...
That's at the same time. And she had not actually, if I remember correctly, again, it's been years since I've watched it, but she actually had not previously had experience with sleep paralysis. That is weird. But then the next thing that a lot of people said, and we mentioned it earlier, is some think they might be otherworldly beings. And kind of attribute them to possible alien abductions. Because that is one of the things that they do, you know, is they just kind of watch you. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what a lot of aliens do. People that are abductees, is they're just being watched by these things. Aliens also scare the shit out of me. Like, sleep paralysis and aliens just scare the shit. It's just like, I think it's like the violation aspect of it. That, like, if aliens really are, well, I think aliens are for sure real, but I'm not, you know, not 100% if they visited this Earth. Pretty positive, though. If they are really abducting people, like, you're helpless. They're so much smarter. They're so far beyond our technological abilities and our thinking capabilities. They could do anything they want to.
Yeah.
It's just the thought of them being able to take me, do experiments on me, and me not maybe even be able to remember it is terrifying. Mm-hmm. There is this website. It's literally called shadowpeople.org. It's pretty horrifying. They have just a whole bunch of, like, user submitted stories and stuff in that. They have some pictures on there, which are awful. I have one that I picked one out. It's actually just an anonymous user must have sent this to the website back in 2009. It's not super long. It's one of the, it's a few paragraphs. But I'm just going to kind of read it here because it's kind of freaky and there's some interesting aspects about the story that I generally don't hear. And they are an alien and unnatural presence is what they titled it. My experience occurred while living in the San Fernando. How do you say that? Fernando. My experience occurred while living in the San Fernando Valley in the greater Los Angeles area back in 2000. I was 28 years of age at the time of the experience. I had never heard of shadow people, and I do not believe at the time they were well defined. Which I do feel like they are more of a recent thing. But, like, I mean, they're not necessarily, more of, like, the term shadow people has become more, well, widespread with, like, it seems like a higher number of sleep paralysis, and that might have to do with, like the everyday stresses of life, the technology, always looking at a black screen. We could go on and on about that. But, yeah, that is interesting. She said that, and it just kind of sparked a thought in my head. I worked as a research assistant for a very recognizable university. I lived with two roommates. One turned out to be my future wife, and the other was one of her classmates. They were both enrolled in a graduate program at a local university studying genetic science. We were all high-functioning individuals working hard toward future careers. On the night of my experience, my roommate went to sleep as they normally did between 9:30 p.m. and 10 p.m. Myself, I stayed up late that night reading. I had the next day off work and was pretty engrossed in the book and stayed up until about 2 a.m. The night was very quiet, but also very hot. Summers in the San Fernando Valley generally are very warm. The building where I lived was surrounded by a wall that separated our property from the other adjacent buildings. As a result, the wall was also prevented good airflow or nighttime breezes. We would generally keep our windows open to let what cool night air was available to flow through the apartment. At about 2 a.m., the apartment was very quiet. My two roommates were fast asleep, and I moved into my bed next to my future wife. She appeared to be in a deep sleep. I'm not sure how to explain it, but she was almost strangely deep to sleep. She did not move as I moved into bed next to her. The bedroom window was taller than it was wide, and it would slide open from right to left and not up and down. There was a screen on the outside of the window and vertical blinds on the interior side of the window. The vertical blinds were open to let air in, air, and I could see light, street light or moonlight, not sure, coming in through the window. It dimly illuminated portions of the room. The blinds were not moving, and little airflow was coming through the window. I was laying on my back. Oh, there you go. See, first fucking mistake. I was laying on my back, starting to relax prior to falling asleep. Suddenly, the blinds crashed. It sounded like someone jumped right through the window and blinds. At the same time, I saw a dark shape move from the area of the window to the corner of the room. This was directly diagonal away from me. My heart started to pound as my pulse started to race. I do not know how else to explain this except that my primal instincts went on high alert. I went from trying to fall asleep to scared to death of the sudden presence of something that felt so alien, evil, and unnatural. I literally became frozen with fear. I must say that this was something very unusual for me. I grew up in the inner city of Chicago and had learned how to handle myself. I did not fright easily and absolutely never to this extent. As I lay on my back, I could see a shadow in the corner of the room. It seemed to be observing me. It looked like an average-sized man outline. The build was quite thin. I have always thought that it had wings, but it could have just been a coat or a cloak. There is some sort of slight bulk above the shoulders. I thought these were the wings. It appeared to be trying to squat or duck in the corner. It was so foreign, I did not see any eyes. The only strength I could muster was to turn over and avoid looking in the direction of the shadow. I started to instinctively excite the Our Father. I did this until I fell asleep. My future wife never broke out of her sleep throughout this entire experience, which I always found to be odd. Over time, I have read experience of other people and have found many similarities. My encounters did not try and dart away unless the... What the hell? My encounter did not try to dart away unless the crouching in the corner was its attempt to hide. The physical contact of the window blinds was also very strange. The overwhelming fear highlighted this encounter. When I reflect on this experience, I remember it like it was yesterday. I have no idea what the shadow person was, but the way my body reacted to its presence has always meant to me it was not native to this world. I just found that really, this is just, a fairly typical account. It's weird to me, that the blinds moved. It was almost like a physical being, came through this person's window, which is not usual with shadow people, reports and stuff.
Yeah.
And, who knows, maybe this person was abducted, but, it doesn't sound like that. But he felt that it was distinctly alien, that it was not of this world, and, alien doesn't necessarily mean little spaceman. It could mean other dimensional being,
right? Just
type of thing, which is kind of what it sounds more like he meant by the title Alien. But yeah, why would the blinds move? He heard it come through the window, and then there's just, can you imagine? You hear it, and there's just something creepy. And this doesn't sound like sleep paralysis because again, they kind of rolled over, closed their eyes, and just tried to go to sleep.
It almost seemed like it wanted them to see it.
Yes,
it made the purposeful noise of the window blinds so that it would see it. Otherwise, and only them see it because the future wife never woke up. She just laid there. It just, that seems really odd. It was meant for them. Was it some sort of sign or a message?
I don't know, but ugh.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I would like the shadow people to stay away from me.
Yeah, no thanks.
I just recently watched this movie called Come True. It's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. If I did more film reviews, I'd like to review this movie because I absolutely loved it. She has not seen it yet, but it deals with shadow people, mainly sleep paralysis, but it's a really weird, trippy movie. But man, is it creepy. The way they depict the shadow people in this thing made me so upset, and I did not want to go to sleep that night. I watched it right before bed, and most of the things, I said most movies do not scare me. Show me slashers all day. Show me just monster movies. Don't care, but you show me aliens or shadow people, man. I can't watch before I go to bed. It freaks me out. Freaks me out. I do not like it.
I'm just reading they have in popular culture things.
Interesting.
And there's a bunch of different things. They talk about The Nightmare, that movie that you talked about.
Terrible.
About sleep paralysis. I guess there's shadow men in the movie John Dies at the End. that if they kill a person, that person basically gets erased from existence. Like they never existed at all.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot of like shadow people and stuff in movies and that.
There was an episode of A&E's Intervention.
Really?
That involved a person that was plagued by shadow people, and he would spray a mist. Yeah, he would spray a mist to reveal them in the refractions.
What?
He also built weapons to fight them and alleges that they are using stolen technology to telepathically communicate with certain individuals.
Interesting. No, I have not seen the episode, but like the first thing you obviously think of when you hear that is, oh, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But like, what if he's not? Like, you ever think about like,
what if he's not?
Like these people that claim to see things, and we just so quickly say that they're crazy. And I mean, maybe most of them are. Maybe most of them need mental help. But like, even if it's only one of them.
Yeah.
And they're not. Like, that's kind of horrifying to think about, you know? And it almost makes you wonder, too, like, if you want to get real conspiracy, it's like, if you, like, know, like, I don't know, if you're, like, a higher power, like, a higher up company, power, government official, well, whatever, and you know that these kind of things exist, and you don't really know what they are, because, like, the government hates anything that they can't control, and that's, like, one of the main reasons that they have taken so long to kind of express to us, like, finally they're starting to release UFO footage and stuff like that, which is amazing to me, that they actually are doing that, but you don't want to admit that you don't have control, because it makes you look weak to other countries, and it just makes you look weak in general. If you actually admit that you don't understand something, and if you don't understand something, what else don't you know how to do? You don't know how to fight it.
Yeah.
So, if they know that these things exist, and people are saying it, and even if they aren't crazy, they're going to want to shut you up, so you're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing with aliens. So many people, like, come up, and, and they have it because it's so well known in the public eyes, and it's becoming less and less of an enigma to, like, admit that you, like, believe in aliens, or that you've seen an alien, or you've been abducted, but, the government can just, or anyone could just be like, oh, well, he's crazy, and everyone's like, yeah, he sounds like he's crazy, but, like, maybe they're not. Like, there's been people that come out and say, hey, I worked in this department, I worked in this division where we worked with, like, UFOs that were obtained and stuff like that. And, and the government's, no, he didn't, he's crazy. And you're like, huh, okay, yeah, that must be it.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, like, maybe someone out there does kind of understand more what these shadow people are. Maybe they are actually, like, interdimensional beings, not alien from, like, spacecrafts, but they have a way to enter our world, and they observe us while we sleep for who knows what reason. Well, that's terrifying. Imagine someone just has, like, a little window under your... Maybe they're not even... Maybe they're shadow people because they're not physically there. They're just there in, like, spirit form, or it's just, like, their aura, but they're still being able to view you. Maybe that's why there's no details, is they're just projecting, like, astro projecting.
Yeah, they're just projecting. Yeah.
From, like, another dimension or somewhere else, That's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that I personally believe any of these things that I'm stating, but, these are, like, creepy what-ifs that, kind of make you think about it, because I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to most things, but when there's just such a huge collection of people all experiencing the same thing, especially when it comes to sleep paralysis and stuff like that, it really makes you think, what the hell? Like, not everybody's lying, you know what I mean? Like, there's truth to it. And I mean, I've never had, like, knock on wood, I haven't had a sleep paralysis episode where I've seen, at least that I can remember. I have a lot of dreams, though, so maybe I have, and I just don't remember, that I remember, like, seeing, like, a shadow figure. But I do see things, I would say fairly frequently I'll see things in my peripheral vision. Like, I'll see things passing by, like, fairly often, and not just at haunted places, like, just at home. A lot more lately than usual, which is interesting. But, yeah.
You bring in stuff home.
Oh, who knows? Yeah.
Maybe Finn's just inviting things in.
Oh, it's been really creepy. So I just have a cat. I don't have a dog anymore. My dog has recently deceased, and, like, a couple nights ago, I saw the cat, like, he's a Bengal cat, so he's pretty big. There's a cute little video on the channel. You should go watch it. Anyways, I saw him walk out of the corner of my eye. I saw, like, peripheral vision. It's a word I can't say. Between the couch and go down the hallway to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, there goes Finn. And then I look down and remember Finn's curled up on my lap sleeping, and I'm like, oh. Like, and I see that fairly often, like, once a week type of thing. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it's just, like, I don't know if because I'm so used to seeing him that my mind thinks it's seeing, or if I am seeing something out of my peripheral vision, and it is, like, maybe the spirit of my dog. Because, of course, my dog would constantly, he used to love to go lay back in the hallway. maybe I'm seeing that. Because, like, after he had passed, like, we heard clippity-clopping on the floors and stuff. I'd hear him whine outside my door. Don't really hear that anymore, but I still, once in a while, out of the corner of my eye, will kind of, like, see that kind of thing. So, I mean, that's kind of a shadow figure. I mean, I'm seeing something out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
I can't make out detail, but I just see movement, assume it's my cat, and then I'm like, oh, no, my cat's literally on my legs. Like, so, I don't know. One thing I will say is we'd be very interested if you have any, if you're listening to this or watching this and have any shadow people experience, we'd love to hear them. You can comment if it's short, but I would recommend that you get a hold of us on Facebook or send us an email. All of those links for social media are in the show notes if you're watching or if you're listening to podcast, and they're in the description section on YouTube. Links for our website, which is a contact us page. It's used for contacting us for photography if you need like a quote and stuff, but it can also be used to send us stories. It can be used for that, or you can just direct message us on Facebook. If you have any other questions, you can even request us to like contact you by leaving a comment if you want to do it that way too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add to Shadow People? Shadow People episode?
I don't think so. Yeah, now I'm creeping out. Like I'm like.
Right. Yeah. It's creepy.
We're in a creepy basement, and there's lots of little like.
Well, we need to start referring to it. We've been thinking of changing the intro to "Welcome to the Dungeon" with Kim and Josh. I think we might. I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of like referring to our studio as the dungeon. It's like, yes, it's a very like open basement that you cannot see. There's a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
But like, we're just kind of in a certain section of the basement, but it's a pretty large basement. And there's always shadows because of all the lights we have create all these crazy shadows kind of projecting outwards.
Yeah. That's creepy.
And I'll constantly think I see things, but it's just like the shadow of this object on this wall, or it might be my hand when I'm doing hand motions and stuff like on like a dresser that's kind of over there.
Or if I shift, like, there's, like, a shadow.
Yeah. Or, like, sometimes when you move even, it's funny. It'll catch me. I'll be looking, like, towards the camera because, I'm like, it's like I'm speaking to an audience. And, like, this is reflective right here. And I'll see your hand movements and be like, what? And I'm like, oh, it's my laptop. So, I mean, that is something, too, to be more practical and less like, oh, there's spirits everywhere all the time. Is, your eyes do play tricks on you. And your mind is constantly trying to make sense of things because, that's the only way we don't basically go insane is, your mind makes sense of things and it needs to understand things. And that's why, like, in, like, cosmic horror type of things, that's why people, like, when they see ghosts or, like, these eldritch beings, they just go insane. They just lose their mind because it's so otherworldly and unexpected. It was interesting, actually. I did not like the movie very much, but I'll say it now. There's going to be a spoiler alert coming up. See, I'm going to cut what I just said, and then I'm going to put it in front of the spoiler that I just gave. Spoiler alert for Pretty Little Thing Inside the House or the Attic, whatever the hell it's called. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We're going to ruin the entire ending.
Spoil.
Yeah. There's a movie, I think it's a Netflix original. It's called I'm the Pretty Little Thing That Lives Inside the House or the Attic or something like that. And it's very dry and long, kind of slow movie. But, like, at the end, when she finally sees the ghost, she just dies. She sees the ghost and it scares her so much, she dies. And I've just never really seen a movie, like, that really, like, has done that, and I found that interesting. Spoiler alert. By the way.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise spoiler alert. I didn't like it. Movie very much. Probably not worth your time. Some people really like it. I shouldn't say that. But I just found that really interesting. Maybe I guess. Anyways. I just found that was cool. I don't remember how I got on that, but I did. So, yeah. And also watch Come True. It's a fantastic movie. God, watch that movie. It's so good. Just don't watch before bed if you're scared of shadow people like me, because you'd just be really upset. I still think about it. It's very upsetting. Ending's really weird of that movie, but it's good. But yeah, again, send us shadow people stuff if you want. We'd like to have we just never get stuff. We never get people sending us things. Nobody sends us
scary stories.
We'd like to do like fan submissions. I do have one that someone has sent me, but like I haven't really had an episode that it's fit to put it into. So I'd like more, so that way I could do it in like an episode where there's more than one, because we like to make these episodes at least close to half hour long or longer, as if it's podcasts, these are the podcasts. If you listen to video form, they are first and foremost made as a podcast, so they are longer form where we kind of pick a topic, discuss it, and we kind of blabber on a bit. That's what you do when you do a podcast. Like the reviews and stuff, they're a little more tightly knit, and we really kind of try and stay more focused on those, but these ones, they are open to breathe a little bit more. But yes, thank you for watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, share with your friends, ring the bell so you don't miss anything out. With ton more content coming up. It's October soon.
Yay!
yeah, for all your creepy shit that you like to do and watch, we have it.
Yes.
We have the creepy stuff.
You want to know what haunted houses to go to this September and October? You need to watch our YouTube videos.
Yes.
We do haunted house reviews. How easy is that? We tell you our experiences, whether or not we think it's worth going to.
Yes.
It's easy. It's awesome. I mean, we might even have a little, like, little bit of what the haunted house looks like. I mean, obviously, we'll probably not have it inside, but we'll have it, like, outside. Maybe we'll interact with some scare actors. You never know. Watch them. They're fun.
Exactly. We also do a little bit of food reviews and unboxing videos and stuff, too.
Yeah.
So
they're not very scary.
No, those ones aren't.
Unless they're really gross.
We're still usually on a spoopy set, though.
Yeah, we got new things.
We got a ghost. This was new. We just got this at a cool haunted garage sale, which you should watch that. That's online by now. That should have been online the week before you watched that. We got that here. This is really cool. And got a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know if any of the other things on display.
Not yet.
Nope, not here. But we will be changing this setup for this season of the Halloweens when that's a thing, which is going to be so soon. I'm excited.
I know. Me too.
But yes, thank you very much for watching. And we will see you in the next episode. Hope the shadow people don't get you.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.